Hey guys, before the video begins, I have two quick announcements to make. The first one is that my channel now has a Discord server. The link is in the description, so you can click on that and check it out. If you want to post a picture of your work, feel free to. Don't be afraid. There's lots of people that have posted on there already. If you have a question, you can also ask it on there. There's lots of helpful people that have made my suit and kind of know what to do as well. The second announcement that I have to make is that I'm going to be doing a community projects video, and what's going to happen is you guys are going to submit like a photo or a video of any projects that you're currently working on, and I will download it from the Discord server and save it to my computer. In about a month or two, I'll turn it into a community video and post it on my channel. Now, the way that you can submit a work for this video is on my Discord server. There is a specific channel titled Community Video 01, and if you post a picture or short video in that channel, that's when I'll download it and save it for later. So feel free to check that out, and that's all for the announcements. What's up guys, welcome to another video. Today we're going to be handling the Mandalorian thigh armor. Once again, this armor design is just my own take on the Mandalorian suit of armor. It is not actually from the Star Wars universe, but it fits pretty well, I think. There are many different ways that you can make thigh armor, such as having it wrap all the way around your leg, like the clone trooper, or just having a plate attached to the side of your leg, like in this case. This piece is heavily inspired by the Death Watch armor from Star Wars The Clone Wars, but it might look a little plain right now, simply because it doesn't have holsters on the sides. And the reason I didn't add the holsters yet was because I wanted to make the blasters first and then fit the holsters to the blaster, so I don't make the holster too big or something. Anyway, getting into the build, we're going to start off by doing the same thing we've done for the previous pieces of armor, and we're going to use our template and just trace it onto some foam. Once again, I'm using 6mm EVA foam, and I'm just tracing it on using a Sharpie. Like you can see here, I have to cut up the template a little bit just because it won't fit onto the sheet of foam as it is, but that's okay. Since this is going to be a beveled area anyway, the seam line won't be very obvious. And now I'm going to cut the foam. I'm just going to use an X-Acto knife and a metal ruler. It's important to use a metal ruler in this case because if you use a wooden one, the knife can actually cut through the wood and start shaving it off, which isn't very good, especially when you want a clean straight line. For the rounded edges, obviously we can't use a straight ruler, so I'm going to have to eyeball it. Now just go slowly and be careful, but you don't want to go too slowly because you might end up with a wavy pattern. And you'll also want to make sure that you're holding the knife straight up and down for a lot of these edges because they're not meant to be beveled. It can take some practice, but just make sure you're being vigilant when you're cutting, and you'll get used to it. Now you'll want to flip over the template and draw a line to connect those two angles, and we're going to put a V groove on the back side of this armor plate. And the way that we will do this is almost like beveling, but we're not going to cut all the way through the foam. You're going to want to offset that ruler from the line that we drew earlier, about 1 centimeter, and then just run your knife at an angle along that ruler, making sure your knife is pointed outward. And then you just have to flip it over and do the same for the other side to make a V shape. And And now we're going to bevel one of the edges. This is going to be the edge where we glue on this extra piece that we cut off earlier. I didn't show it on screen, but I went ahead and cut this piece out onto foam. It's the same process as the rest of the build. The way that we bevel this edge is by taking your ruler and offsetting it from the edge about a centimeter, just like with the V-groove, except this time we're going to cut all the way through the foam, to the very edge. Once again, making sure to hold that knife at an outward angle. If you end up with some frayed edges like I did here, what you can do is take a hobby nipper or something like this and just sort of snip off those little pieces of foam that are hanging off, because we want a smooth and flat surface when we're gluing this all together. Now for the V-groove that we made earlier, you can take some hot glue and just run it along the trench, and then you can fold this flap section upward and hold it in place until the hot glue dries. Now for this flap section that we had to separate earlier, we're going to glue it back onto the main body, and we're going to use contact cement to achieve this. When using contact cement, you want to work in a well-ventilated area and use a respirator if possible, one that's rated for organic vapors. You'll want to have good airflow when you're using this because the smell will linger and it can be kind of toxic, so don't use this around other people. In order to use contact cement, you have to paint it onto both surfaces that you wish to glue together, and then give it a few minutes to dry, and once it's dry, you can stick them together. Now you'll want to do the exact same thing for the other side, but in reverse, making sure to bevel in all the right angles because you don't want to end up with two of the exact same piece of armor. Now what we're going to do here is heat up the foam and bend it around our leg. What you can do is take a heat gun and just heat it up for a few seconds, and then just bend it into a cylinder shape and hold it there for a little while, and once the EVA foam cools down, it will hold its rounded shape. Now we're going to attach some straps to this armor piece to hold it onto our body. For this step you can use nylon or elastic, which can be bought from craft stores. However, in this case I'm going to be using a cheap dog collar that I found at Walmart. As you can see, I'm going to apply contact cement to the buckle and to the thigh armor piece and attach them directly, and I'm also going to use a lot of hot glue to hold everything in place. Now this video comes from the live stream that I did a while ago, but I think the picture will be clear enough. In order to hold up your thigh armor, you're going to want to attach it to a belt, and to achieve this, I'm just going to take another dog collar and glue it onto the upper section of that thigh armor, this time facing vertically instead of horizontally. I have not covered the belt section as of yet, but that will be in a future video. This is just giving you a general idea of what's going to happen. Trust me, you will need a belt section to hold up these thigh armor pieces because they will become loose over time. So that's about it for this video. The thighs might be looking a little plain right now, but that's just because there's no holster on them. And once again, I will be making the blaster first, just so I can get the holsters to fit the blaster better. A big thank you to all those who tuned in to my live streams these last few weeks. They've been really fun, and I've been able to answer a lot of questions that way. I plan to do more of them in the future, so if you want to be notified of them, feel free to follow me on all of the platforms that I post on, specifically on Instagram, Discord, and the YouTube community page. And a big thank you to all those who have backed me on Patreon. Your support means a lot to me, and I'm glad to be able to give interesting content to you guys. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them below, or join the Discord server and ask them over there. But otherwise, that's about it, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye guys.